Hi guys. I just came across a neat little story about kids and the family courts going to a little thing called recertification camps. And the people who run these certification camps, this needs to stop. It really does. Being a survivor of SA myself, not only in my childhood but in my adulthood, due to my father and stepmother, I think it's bullshit. These kids need to be taken care of. They need an attorney for them, a attorney who specializes in this sort of thing. I mean, they were taken away from what they call a safe parent and was put into a freaking camp. It ain't even a camp. They separate children even from their own siblings, and they put them in hotel rooms until they can get them to a place where they try to brainwash them to and threaten them to love their abusers, to say that it was all a lie. I mean, with my laing incident, I can tell you right here. Listen to this. Listen to this.
Hello everyone. So I was going to give you an update on Maya and Sebastian Lang. I found this on the internet. And I found out that a restraining order was granted to Maya Lang against her mother the day before she was taken from her home where she was staying.
Oh, well, why did they take her and put her in this restoration or whatever, this camp or whatever that she was forced to? If she has a restraining order and it was granted, wouldn't that be breaking the restraining order? This kid was not even supposed to be near her mother. Under law, with a restraining order, the mother cannot step so many feet near that child. So what are they doing kidnapping her and her brother?
One judge, not one lawyer, has stepped back and called, you know what, there's something really wrong here. Jess and Raj, tonight you'll hear from three young people who went through a court-ordered reunification program called Family Bridges. It's based here in the Bay Area, and it is one of the oldest and most widely used programs in North America. According to the SC Guardian training from this year, Family Bridges is an educative and experimental program focused on allowing the child to have a healthy relationship with both parents. Now, I asked the court for the number of cases ordered through Family Bridges and the success of the program. A spokesperson told me, quote, "We do not have this type of information," adding, "It isn't data that we track." The court recommended contacting the program directly. Jess and Raj, tonight you'll hear from three young people who went through a court-ordered reunification program called Family Bridges. It's based here in the Bay Area, and it is one of the oldest and most widely used programs in North America. According to the SC Guardian training from the... Alright guys, this is just a reminder for anybody that has seen the stories about Sebastian and Maya or Rita Maroki here in Michigan. I want to remind you guys that on November 13th that they're going to be hosting a reunification camps exposed conversation over Zoom. If you want to sign up, if you haven't already, the familycourtawarenessmonth.org is where you sign up. Once you sign up, you'll be given the login information, but you'll also be provided with an email address where you can provide your questions so that they can be answered. At the last one I attended, you could also put questions into the chat as well. So I just want to let you know, for anyone that's in Michigan that wants to join in on this does start at 7 p.m. I know it says 4, but it is 7 p.m. for us. The last class that I did was about domestic violence and being able to...
Look what they did to these children, and yet this little girl had a restraining order against her sexually essayed mother who did these to these kids. They have her shirt up over near almost over her head, so we're exposing her breast, which is a horror for an SA victim. That's like reliving the SA attack all over again. For one, for a victim, and having a man do that to you, that little girl, I'm surprised will ever trust a man again. And that shirt is literally off of her. It's just laying on her chest at this point. And for an SA victim, and the cops ain't stopping them from doing this. If I was a cop, I would have stopped them from doing that at least and let her put her shirt back on. No, to an SA victim, that is hell. That's like reliving the event of what happened to them over and over and over again.
When you have alienating narcissistic parents brainwashing children against the loving targeted parent, places like these are going to bank off of their suffering and cause more trauma to a child.
Patients, I lay out what the pathology is, describe it in detail, leading to a set of 3 diagnostic indicators, those retractable claws, that will always show up with this particular type of pathology, cross-generational collision with a narcissistic borderline parent, and will show up in no other pathology. No other pathology in all of mental health will produce this set of 3 symptoms. The first one is attachment system suppression. For the normal range parent, the child is rejecting a normal range parent. It's really weird. Now,
no, they wouldn't. They wouldn't reject a normal range parent or a safe parent. They wouldn't attach themselves to a fucking safe parent. No one would, in the right mind, would want to be with an abusive, narcissistic, sexualized parent. I'm sorry. I've been in that situation. I know I wasn't in no recertification camp, but I was essayed by a parent. By my father. Okay? I don't remember the first one because I was freaking little. But I was told by an aunt that it happened. That's why my grandmother took me away from my father. And this is bullshit what she says. And she's one of the people at these recertification camps.
Dr. Childress was recently removed from speaking at the Association of Family and Conciliation Court conferences at the request of the American Psychological Association, according to emails obtained by ABC 10. The initial complaints to the APA against his and his partner Dorsey Pruder's presentation reads, acceptance of the Childress and Pruder presentation by AFCC was beneficial to these people's commercial interests and their ongoing involvement as expert witnesses in child custody cases. But in our opinion, the presentation was not beneficial for education of psychologists or other professionals. The complaint also points out that Dorsey Pruder is not a psychologist but a life coach and has a high school education.
So she shouldn't be speaking bullshit. Exactly.
They disclosed that he was sexually abused by his dad from the ages of 5 to about 10, and now the courts don't believe him. judge finally ordered that he had to go on a...
Okay, y'all, so let me get myself out of the way here. Let me just...
The state of California allowed my ignorant father to take his own daughter, who only has a role with me if I work with him. They set back the whole course and allow him to do that to me. That's given these people I've worked for way too much control. They also threatened me and said if I don't go, then I have to go to court. And it will be more embarrassing me if the judge publicly makes you go the evidence we have. You have to go. I was advised for my image I need to go ahead and just go and get it over with. They said that to me. I don't even drink alcohol. I should drink alcohol, considering what they put my heart through. Also, the Bridges facility they sent me to, none of the kids, I was doing this program.
Brittany went to a Bridges community.
4 months. So the last 2 months, I went to a Bridges facility. None of the kids there did the program. They never showed up for any of them. You didn't have to do anything if you didn't want to. How come they always made me go? The state of California allowed my ignorant father to take his own daughter, who only has a role with me if I work with him. They set back the whole course and allowed him to do that to me. That's given these people I've worked for way too much control. They also threatened me and said if I don't go, then I have to go to court. And it will be more embarrassing me if the judge publicly makes you go when they disclose abuse, when they say, somebody touched me inappropriately or did this or hit me or whatever.
Yeah, well, those are the cases that I specialize in working with, is where there's sexual abuse.
She's a life coach. She's not a specialist in this, as you heard in another video.
For example, this father was being accused of sexually molesting and assaulting his daughter. And I knew that he had diabetes and he couldn't get an erection. And nobody ever wanted to do that to his daughter.
Wait, how do you know that he couldn't get an erection?
He told me, and that is one of the diabetic symptoms.
Diabetic people can't get erections.
That's bullshit. That's a lie. She didn't do her research, because due to the fact that both me and my boyfriend are both diabetic, let me tell you, we have a healthy sexual appetite. Let's just say that. And I know he can get hard. Okay? So that is bunch of malarkey. Okay? Okay? Here's the reason why.
If it's severe, yeah, they count.
Why she believes diabetes did this.
Or telling your therapist that you have diabetes should disqualify someone from being a child molester. They said when they disqualify.
Diabetes is not a hormonal thing. Diabetes is dealing with the thyroid, the blood sugars, and stuff like that in the body. Okay? Has nothing to do with hormones. Okay? And for a man to get not to get an erection, it's a hormonal thing. It's not dealing with anything dealing with diabetes. He has some other problem if he does have it. It's not dealing with diabetes. And I'm even going to look it up for you right here. Well, I'm out here. Can diabetes stop a guy? Can males not get an erection when they have diabetes? Oh, they do. Oh, it can. Then how come there's a lot of men who have diabetes have like 13 kids or whatever? Because I know my man, he has diabetes. He takes both the pill and the shot. And let me tell you, I'm happy with him. Like, just like that. So I don't know how true that is. Unless they didn't do their research a lot more. They just did a percentage of, you know. Because it says here, oh, she believes of the diabetes thing because of the fact that, I mean, it cut off right before that. Oh, he told me he has problems with the erection. That because of his diabetes and stuff. You're actually going to believe an abuser over what the child is saying? And then earlier on in that conversation, which was cut off before they played it, that children will want to go to their abusers and blah, blah, blah. Where's she getting these half of her bullshit? Because I know I was abused by a parent, by my father. Not only sexually, mentally, but emotionally. And when I was an adult and I got pregnant with my daughter, my mom was kicking me out of the house. And she was forcing me back to my abusive stepmother and father. And I lived in that house of hell in Coaldale, Pennsylvania for 10 years. Now, even when I pass it in the medical van, I want to throw gasoline on the house and burn it. Because that is house of hell. Because I went through hell. What anyone would do to a person, they did to me. And I'm surprised I survived. I had my foot broken. I was thrown downstairs, dribbled my head like a basketball in the kitchen. I mean, I was threatened, manipulated, you name it. I was made to feel that small. I was not allowed any privacy. Okay? I was afraid at night where I had to freaking sleep with a knife underneath my pillow. There was nights where I had to hide in a closet with the lights off and act like I'm not even there. Because certain family members in the household was coming down to murder me and put me 6 feet on the ground. Why? Because I drank the milk. A gallon of milk to drink. Or I didn't do the dishes right. Or I didn't clean right. Or I ruined a $300 pair of pants because he was too stupid enough to remove the damn pen from the pants. No, they blame me. Oh, why didn't you check the pants to make sure the pen wasn't in there? Not my responsibility. Not my clothes. But I did because I was told to do so. You were the one stupid enough to leave a pen in the pants. And then I know for a fact that they worked behind my back when I fled the house. They claimed they didn't know where I was at my grandparents' funeral. They said that right to my aunt's face. My mom knew where I was. My grandfather knew where I was when I was dead, before he died. My grandmother knew where I was before I died. Those three claim they didn't know where I was, which is bullshit. I have documented proof, screen snaps of conversations that the couple I was living with, the girlfriend, had conversations with my mother and my brother. So they knew where I was. Okay? I only lived there for 3 months until I got into the place I'm living at now. And he still knows where I am because I got documented proof there. Another photo of 2 Sports Illustrated magazines, one with my name and address and one with his name on it, my brother's name, with my address. That's him saying, I know where you are. I didn't leave the house for almost a year because I was afraid he was going to break into my house, put drugs in my house, and take my underage daughter. Okay? And I know he abused her too while we were living there, my brother and everybody up there. They separated us. I lived in the basement while they lived on the third floor. I didn't have any contact with my daughter other than taking her to and from school and eating, and even dinner I had to eat separate from the family. That includes holidays. What was left of dinner, I was able to eat. They treated me like I was a dog. Here's scraps. Here's the scraps from whatever's left. And surely my stepmom would make sure that it was only enough for the people at the table, that there was hardly anything for me to eat. They did this shit when I was freaking underage. And I tried to fight tooth and nail by not wanting to go there because I didn't want that happening to my kid. But my mother, my birth mother, forced me back there. This is why I had a little animosity against my mother. I mean, we're still working on the relationship because there's times where she doesn't even come to freaking Thanksgiving dinner or Easter dinner or whatever because she uses excuses. Oh, well, I can't drive. I'm afraid to drive, blah, 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 blah. But she was able, and then I'm like, why don't you ask George to drive? I'm afraid of his driving. No, she told me over the phone one time that she insulted my cooking. She was bad-mouthing me up and down on the phone. And I told her to get the fuck out of my life. And she wouldn't stop calling. And I kept telling her, I'm going to call the police. I'm going to get harassment charges on you. Because this woman, my mother, she has attachment issues. She needs to... I didn't want nothing to do with her because of the fact that she stopped visiting me and my daughter. She does this with all the kids. With me, my sister, and everybody. My mother. If you get to a certain age, she cuts you off. And she did it to Keon. She did it to now Cindy. And I warned my daughter that she was going to do this. No, Grandma's different. No. It's been like about 2-3 years now. We have not seen her up here to visit. Okay? Alright? She's rather have my sis be around my sister who's the rich bitch than be around someone like me. Now my sister moved down recently to Florida. Okay? Who decided to keep in contact with me? My mother. And I feel bad for her because my nephew really doesn't have anything to do with her. My sister just moved down with her 2 kids and wants nothing to do with her. And I'm slowly getting PO'd at my mom for not wanting to come up here. For still making the excuses of wanting to come up here. It's an excuse for being afraid. I just got into a police car over there. I'm like, Mom, you came up here 3 years ago. There was no problem with you coming up, going to Country Junction. I have photos of you being at Country Junction with us. You being at Thanksgiving dinner with us. And everything else in the past. Why is it different now? Oh, our plans for Thanksgiving is going to Top's Diner in Harrison, in New Jersey, and just having a meal there. What kind of Thanksgiving meal is that? You're supposed to be with family. Why is she cutting me off like this? I feel like such a black sheep of the family. I feel like, I'm not only getting was abused by one side of the family, but now it's with her. This is my daughter really don't talk to her grandmother anymore because she's seen how she treats me. I really don't want to be with my mother. I don't want nothing to do with her. But she will cause such a scene if I break contact with her that I will end up getting in trouble. And she's in her 60s, okay? I'm waiting for her to die, okay? I would be spitting on her grave, okay? For all the hell she put me through. I would love to spit on my father and stepmother for the hell they put me through. The only person I worship in my family is my grandma and grandpa because of the fact they tried to save my ass. They tried to give me a better life. Even my aunt freaking doesn't want any contact with me because of what my father, stepmother, and brother said to her. They lied right to her face at a funeral. Okay? And another thing, talking about funeral, my uncle died. They couldn't stand talking to my grandparents and stuff over the phone. So I was the spokesperson of the family. Okay? And they knew something was up because they kept saying, Jesse, tell us what's going on. Blah, 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 blah. Tell us. I couldn't. Because if I did, hell would be brought down. So they told me just to go down there as a spokesperson to my uncle's wedding because they couldn't go. They kept giving me this story of I don't want to go, I can't stand freedom, blah, blah, blah. You know, the whole. But when I got down there and my mom was with me, she can state this, that I was put to sit in the back of the funeral home with my mother. My grandmother and grandfather were sitting up front, and guess who was sitting right next to him? My my father, stepmother, and brother. So I couldn't even talk to him at the funeral. But yet they said they weren't even going to show up. And I gave my grandmother this look when I went up to say goodbye to his body. Like, help me. And I even whispered to my grandmother so she could whisper to my dead uncle so my grandmother could hear. God, Uncle Jimmy, please help me. You know what's going on now. Please get me out of here. And I walked away. As I walked away, I looked at my grandmother. As my stepmom and father was sitting right next to her. And I sat at the back of the freaking funeral home. And when the service was over, my brother has the nerve to act like this was all about him. And like it was a freaking after party. And he was smoozing with my uncle's associates in the limo business and stuff like that. He was trying to kiss ass. And then after he associated with him, what did he do? Go out to the front of the funeral home, took out a cigarette, and smoked. And then left. 3 of them left. And as soon as that happened, I left. I couldn't stand it. I could not stand to be there. Me and my mom went to the Chinese food restaurant nearby, and my mother saw me just break down. And she knew right then and there that they were doing something to me that I could not say. It's like, Mom, I got to get away. And that's all I could say. My Uncle Jimmy was a good man. I hope he could help me on the other side. And he did. He sent me my boyfriend. And my boyfriend got me out of there, out of that situation, got my daughter out of that situation. That's why I'm still with my boyfriend to the day. Because he is my hero. He is my soldier. He is my protector. He saved my life. He got me away from some very bad people in my life. They may be blood, but they're not family. Because family don't do this to other family members. Okay? And if my brother knew about a recertification camp, he would have done it with Cindy. And I can only imagine what my daughter would have went through. And she's sensitive as it is. There was a place like that in Pennsylvania. Okay? Or New Jersey, if that happened to me. I was forced to do my court appointed parent, whatever, where I see my father. Because there were times where these are what I remember. There was that one time where I came to the house where he's living at. And he came home from trucking. And I just got yelled at for using my brother's Super Nintendo or whatever. And Shirley made up this whole bullshit story and everything. And he beat the living shit out of me with a gold eagle belt buckle. And I heard from one of my other family members say most of my beatings was because of my brother. My younger brother. If he got a low grade, they would use me as an example to him. So he would make things up just so I would get beat by Shirley and my dad. There were times where he would come home from his trucking, take not just a 12-pack, not a 24-pack, but a bigger pack like that, than that. Drink him, down him, until he passed out. And then he would pee himself, and I was sitting on his lap. Okay. And when I confronted him about all of this, with all I remember, he claims to me, that didn't happen. I don't know what you're talking about. You're crazy. I'm not apologizing for something I didn't do. Because I was calling him an abusive asshole. That I don't want to be here anymore. I want to be with my kid. I want me and my kid to get out of here. I want to go back to where I was happy. I was not happy for 10 years. I went through not only that bullshit, but in the household, they let my stepmother's her eldest kids move in. His name's Ryan, with his wife. And at the time, they had 2 kids. She got pregnant while living in this house. So there was 3 kids by the time they moved out. And during that time, the wife and the father to the 3 kids, she moved in her sister, her younger sister, which moved me out from the 3rd floor, to the ground floor, to a little tiny room, which didn't even have a door. So I didn't have no privacy. Okay. They claimed my room was messy and stuff. No, I vacuumed. I made sure that room was clean when I was living in it. But when the sister moved in, That room was so cluttered, I'm surprised that this girl even was able to move in that room. And it was a big room, okay? Alright. Me and my brother's girlfriend at the time, Stephanie Peters, went upstairs to talk to Kelly, the wife. And we caught them naked, underneath the blanket, messing around with each other, if you get my drift. Incest, yes. And then afterwards, Kelly started becoming abusive herself, claiming I took her baby detergent, which I didn't, and wanted to beat my ass for it, which I didn't do because why would I use baby detergent on Cindy's clothes when Cindy is not a baby anymore? She was almost 10 years old at the time. So she wasn't a baby, so why would I do that? I mean, and my father just got tired of it, I guess. I don't know if it was all an act, but he told me and Cindy to go outside. I heard him screaming because of the fact that she grabbed Cindy by the hair and was about to slam her. And he grabbed her. I heard him screaming at her, "Get the fuck out. You ain't touching no child ever again," and stuff like that. And the fact that, and not only did she do that to Cindy, but she also did it to her own daughter, Ariana. And Dad just told her to get the fuck out. Get you and your husband get the fuck out. That was the one time he was a man. And as soon as he said that, they moved out. And next thing I know, I heard that she is in a open relationship with her husband. Open relationship. That means she just wants to fuck another human being. That's not being faithful to your husband. I'm sorry. Having an open relationship just says, I just want to screw someone else. Your marriage is done at that point. I'm sorry. Stop being delusional. Your marriage is done. Okay? And I looked at pictures of Ariana, what she looks like now. There's this one picture of her hair cut and black, wearing an upside down pentacle, which means she's satanic. Okay? Nice job there with your parenting. My daughter, not satanic. She's in culinary school, becoming Maka from Friends. She's doing what she dreamed of doing. What is your kids doing? I'm sorry. I want to know. I mean, I can tell my brother's an alcoholic just like my father because I seen a picture of at a birthday party before Rebecca was born, and he's there, chugging away. He's my father all over again. I wonder why Carla and him broke up. He's with this girl, Valentine or whatever her last name is, and I'm telling you, she's gonna learn that he's not the settling down type. He wants to settle down, but he likes to have a chicky poo on the side. So if I were you, Miss Valentine, or Valentino, or whatever, I would keep an eye out on him. Because he did this to a previous girlfriend before Steph, and he did it to Steph. That's how we met Carla. He was engaged to Stephanie when he met Carla at a party, and he was cheating on Steph while still engaged and stuff. And then on top of it, they were both high as fuck on heroin and prescription drugs. I should know because I saved Steph's life when she was overdosing. and he couldn't stay around to save her life. He said he called the paramedics and stuff to keep an eye on her and stuff like that and keep her alive. And then he booked out the damn door. He wasn't even there to make sure she was okay. What kind of person is that? And then when I was cleaning out, when Stefan moved out on him, I was going to, and Alf was in jail because I put him there because I was afraid he was gonna die. Okay? And he had not one, not two, but 4 warrants, 2 in one county and 2 in another. Okay? So they locked him up for that. And while he was locked up, I was going to the kids' playroom. In the kids' playroom, there was a door that you do one of those light locks in. Okay? And then behind the door, you can put towels and blankets and stuff, While I was cleaning up all the papers and stuff, guess what I found underneath all the papers? A syringe. So God forbid the kids open up that door, they would get stuck with a syringe, with whatever was left in that needle. Talk about being safe. And I had to deal with CPS too, because my brother and everybody called them on me. And the CPS worker told me to get the fuck out of there because she was afraid for what's gonna happen. And then on top of it, my brother was gonna get raided by the called out cops and stuff. Which happened. He was in the newspaper as one of many people being part of a drug ring. Okay? That they busted. He went to, and before being busted, he went to someone's birthday party or whatever with a hammer and busted a person's face in. And the person was so afraid that didn't testify against him. So he got off on a technicality. Okay? You see why I was afraid of my brother, of that creature, that slithering human being. I wouldn't even call him a freaking human being. Okay? I'm waiting for karma to hit. Okay? And we had a guy named Bill, or whatever, living with us before my boyfriend moved in. And they claimed to kick him out. They claimed he stole Shirley's alcohol, my dad's rings, and a TV. When me and my boyfriend went to the pawn shop, and we found out that it was his girlfriend and my brother. The girlfriend, Steph, and my brother pointing that shit for money. And I wonder where that money went. Up their nose or into that syringe. So you tell me, who's the better person here? The abused or the abuser? And these kids are going to people like my brother. These kids are going to people like my stepmom and my father. And Kelly. And Ryan. We need to stop putting kids in that situation. If you see a kid not wanting to go to these abusive homes, then the cops should write it down in their report and let the kid go to the safe parent and then settle it in court. Okay? And put them through that emotional trauma. And this freaking camp needs to be disbanded. Okay? That's all I have to say.